Good morning, it's Monday, new week, fresh start, all those things. I'm on my way to work. Big surprise there, right? So, I was thinking about what I wanted to chat with y'all about today. And something that I've been thinking a lot about is limits and boundaries. Not so much like limitations on what your potential is or anything like that, because that's up to you. But in regards to, I'm trying to fix the camera here, it's a little crooked. Anyway, it may just be the way it's supposed to be today. But really setting like kind of limits and boundaries for yourself. Okay. So realizing when something's not healthy and acknowledging it and doing the mental work that's needed to pull yourself through it, as well as realize when there are things that do not benefit you, and either limiting those things or pulling them out of your life because they're not benefiting you. I know, novel concept, right? The challenge though is that, let's be honest, that's not how we work. So we are going to continue to do certain things because they're habit, because we feel like we have to, because we feel like feel, you get the idea there. You don't have to do anything. I know that sounds, like, yeah, no, I have to go to work. Okay, I get it. You got to go to work. Nobody likes going to work. Actually, I like my job. A lot of people like their jobs, but you got to make money, and I get that. You got to pay bills. I'm not talking about means to an end on that end. What I'm talking about is, how do you feel your free time? Who is in your life? If you've got a friend that is consistently toxic, that every time you hang out with them, you walk away feeling, worse about the world, worse about yourself, worse about your situation, then that maybe is somebody you don't need to spend time with. And they may not necessarily even be a bad person, but maybe you're someone who struggles with comparison, and you have to decide, is it worth continuing a relationship that doesn't feel good to you? Say this person, your goal in life is to be a size 2. Okay, I don't know that that's realistic for a lot of people, but so say your goal is to be a size 2, all right? And you have this friend who's a size 2, and every time you hang out with that person, they may, she may be an absolute delight, but you walk away going, why am I not a size 2? And feeling bad about yourself. So there's 2 ways to approach that. One, you can try and spend less time with the person, which is possible, especially if that person maybe is negative, or part of the reason you feel badly is because when you hang out with that person, they make comments about your size or whatever, and that's not okay. Or if it's just really up here, and I am at a stoplight if anybody's worried about me looking at the camera. If the problem's up here, then you got to decide if you're going to manage it there or not, which probably is the better choice, unless that person is truly toxic, in which case you need to maybe think about trying to pull away. If it's someone really, really horrible, maybe you need to just carve them out of your life altogether. Or even activities. There's so many ways that we fill our time. Are you filling your time with emptiness? Are you filling your time with things that are curated and make you grow as a person? There's a lot of ways to fill that time. Social media is a perfect example. You can sit there and scroll Instagram, TikTok reels, wherever you're watching stuff, and Facebook, YouTube, whatever. You can spend tons of time just sitting there scrolling on reels or scrolling through videos or whatever. And you have to ask yourself, is that the best use of your time? Well, if watching those things helps build you up as a person, it's encouraging, helps you take better care of yourself because maybe they're educational, helps you learn proper form at the gym for an exercise you've been struggling with, then that's valuable, okay? But if you spend a lot of time, or, even if it's something that's mindless, but it's truly enjoyable to you, and you don't walk away feeling less than when you started, okay? And that's maybe the bigger thing, is how do those things make you feel? If you watch cat videos all day long and you walk away and you feel great and you don't feel like you've missed out on anything, you don't feel less about yourself or anything like that, then I don't personally have any issues with that. I probably wouldn't use that as my own time, but it's not my time, right? It's my time is my time. So figuring out what things encourage you, lift you up, that are beneficial, that are educational, push your creativity, those are things that you should be focusing on, because that's what's going to help you manage your own emotions better, manage your time better. Anytime you try to do something, you want to figure out what kind of time you want to put into something. So if it's a bigger project, you're going to put time into that. If it's something less important, you maybe put less time into it. But your time is your value. And that's one of the things I feel like I've learned as I've gotten a little older, is that, there's money, but time is far more valuable. Where I put my time shows my values, and I think that's true for a lot of people. How you spend your time reflects really who you are, and you have to really step back and sit there and go, okay, well, where am I spending my time? Am I spending it working every minute of every day because I feel like I'm gonna miss out on something if I don't have this full bank account? Am I spending not enough time with my kids because I'm afraid I'm going to miss out at something at work? And that's not okay either. You got a limited amount of time with your kids, that they'll grow up and leave the home before you realize it. You don't have tons of time with them. Am I spending time nourishing my soul? My family, my husband, we're Christians. We believe in Jesus. Those are values that are important to us. We go to church on Sundays, not because we have to, but because we want to. It's important for us to start our week that way. And, it's important that our children get those, about the background, that foundation. And so that's part of our values, and how we choose to spend our time. Even you can take good things and make them bad. So, there is a Bible verse, and it says everything's permissible, but not everything's beneficial. And I love that, because it's the truth of the matter is you can do anything you want, but is it actually going to help you? Is it going to build you up as a person? And if the answer is no, then once again, you have to really think about, is this something I want to be spending time doing? And probably not. So consider, like I said, where do you spend your time? What are you doing that's overly, I know that sounds weird, overly good, okay? Can you take exercise to an extreme? Yes, absolutely. I have had patients, and I have actually had colleagues and friends that I honestly think over-exercise. I truly do. I think they are addicted to that exercise runner's high that they get. And because it's not drugs or alcohol, it's an okay high to chase. I would argue that's not any better, and honestly can be detrimental from a health standpoint as well. So it is important that we manage those thoughts, we manage that time frame usage. You can over-exercise, okay? I've seen more than one person who's addicted to running, cycling, It's usually cardio based, but it doesn't have to be. It can be strength training. It could be some kind of sports activity. And once again, not a bad thing. Those things can be very good for you. They can be very healthy. But if you hit a point where you're chasing something to try and get more, then we have defeated the purpose of what we're doing. And honestly, too much exercise actually can cause problems, and that's a whole nother discussion. So what I would encourage y'all to do, and to quote someone who I like to follow on Instagram, Dr. Will Cole, he's always talking about the joy of missing out. Okay. And we always talk about FOMO, or the fear of missing out. And a lot of us live in fear of missing things. And what I would encourage you to do this week is to take some time, think about what your priorities are, what your boundaries are, what is important to you. And if someone looked at your life from the outside in with how you were spending your time, what would they see? And is that what you're trying to accomplish? Because if they look in from the outside in, and the person that other people are seeing is not who you think you are trying to become, then you need to take a step back and figure out how to make that change. But I would encourage you to also think about where you can miss out. Okay, what can you put limits on? One of the things I personally do is started taking advantage of my, the privacy buttons on my phone, trying to avoid alerts and notifications so that my time at work is more focused exactly where it needs to be. That way I'm not losing my train of thought because of an alert. I may ignore that alert, but it's still detracting from what I'm trying to do. So I've started to take more advantage of that. Setting times that I'm allowed to do I can do what I want. I'm a grown up. Okay. But setting times that I'm allowing myself to spend on TV, social media, things that I just don't think are really bringing more joy to my life. I have tried to stop scrolling at nighttime. You can ask my husband. I've been sitting there with my coloring book while we're watching TV in bed. But I feel like that's bringing me down a little faster than ready for sleep than playing on my phone. So there's some lots of things you can kind of do to try and make some changes there, but trying to focus in on what can you miss out on. What's okay to miss? Is it okay to miss that run? Is it okay to miss your kid's game? Maybe not. But if you have to choose between going to the gym and taking time for your kid, what's more valuable to you? They're both good. All right. So kind of some tough decisions, tough thoughts. I would just encourage you to start making those thought work, those thought process, and creating boundaries is really important because it helps you become more of who you want to be, and it helps you really focus in on what is actually important and what your values are. So anyway, have a lovely Monday morning. If you have thoughts, please put them down below. I'd love to hear them. If you are trying to figure out where you want to make some of those changes and you just want someone to kind of be a sounding board, reach out. Otherwise, I hope you have a lovely week.